Hey everybody, I hope that you're doing well, that you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thanks for praying for us while I was gone, for the students, for our family. Carly and the kids did get sick while I was gone. I was sick in Denver. So we appreciate your prayers, and we're through that now. We're happy to be back home together and starting off the second semester this week. I wanted to share a quick story about a student I met at Winter Conference. Her name was Bree. She was a part of one of the track sessions that I led, and after one of the sessions, she came up to me and said, can I pick your brain for a moment? I have a question for you. And she asked this question: how can I share my faith with other people if I'm unsure of where I'm at in my own faith? It was a really good question, of course, and so I just said, you want to take the posture of a learner and someone who hasn't arrived, because no one has arrived, and you're interested in their story, even as you're figuring out your own story. And she understood that, and then I just said, well, where are you at in your relationship with God? And as she began to talk, I realized she didn't have a theological or an intellectual problem with God. It was more emotional and relational. What she told me was she understands the gospel, she understands the Bible, but she's angry at God because she felt like her grandmother just passed away, and she felt like her grandmother died too early in life. And so that obviously is a huge and significant thing to go through. Not just that you lose your grandma, but that in response to that, you have these emotions that well up, and you get angry at God. And so we were able to talk about processing our emotions in prayer, and we were able to talk about the importance of sadness and pain and how God can use that to take us to an even better place in relationship with Him. We talked about the people in the Bible who struggled in relationship with God, and throughout the Psalms, and how people would express their sadness and their pain and even their anger to God. And she seemed like a reader. She had 3 or 4 books in her hand. And so I suggested another book, and it's a book called A Sacred Sorrow by Michael Card. And I told her how helpful it was for me. So she immediately scribbled it down, and I said, in that book, what he's going to talk about is how to deal with the pain and the heartache that we feel, but to do it honestly in relationship with God, because He wants to have that real, authentic, transparent relationship with us. And she looked at me and she said, that's exactly what I want. And so it's great to see those moments of illumination when God's working, even in the midst of something really hard. I'm sure there were lots of students at our conference, as well as other Cru conferences and other ministries conferences around the country as they happened over Christmas break. I'm sure there's a lot of students who are going through that. Their main issue isn't theological or intellectual. It's emotional. It's relational. It's some situation that's come up, and they're trying to learn and figure out, how do I process this and continue to walk with God through it? So as you think of Bree, pray for her. Pray for the other students as they kind of settle in to campus this week and continue to think on the things they heard at Winter Conference. I wanted to let you know about a few things that are coming up that are really exciting in January and February that we want to ask you to be praying for. The first one is that we have an outreach on January 29th with Dr. Robert Coons, and he is from the University of Texas. He's a philosophy professor. He's coming to present on the existence of God from mathematical and philosophical evidence. So that blows my mind. So I'm really excited to hear from him. Here's the really cool thing. Cru is partnering with a couple other Christian organizations on campus and the UNL Philosophy Club. So that's totally secular, totally not Christian group of students who want to be a part of this and want to engage in this debate, this conversation, and understand the Christian perspective. And so they're even asking the university to provide money to help fund this outreach. So that is super cool. So pray for that. That's January 29th. The second thing I want to let you know about outreach-wise is on February 20th, we have a ministry called After Dark coming to campus. They put on a free concert at the Lead Center. It's a performing arts center downtown. Seats about 2,000 people. And their tagline is where music and message meet. And so we have a couple artists coming to sing, to perform. One of them is Andy Mineo. He's a popular he's Christian hip-hop artist, but also has some mainstream, some crossover appeal, and so he's fairly well known among college students. And then Joe White is the speaker, and he helps. He's connected to Kanakuk camps. And so he presents the gospel in a really powerful and dramatic way. I saw this outreach when I was in college. We did one of these when I was at UNL. And so pray for that. All the ministries on campus are partnering together to do this. And so it is an all hands on deck thing, and we're praying that God brings about 2,000 students to the Lead Center on February 20th. Last two things I'll let you know about that we'd ask prayer for. We have a men's retreat. We're calling it a men's advance because godly men don't retreat. So that's February 1st and 2nd. And then the ladies have a women's retreat on February 8th and 9th. We always do a fall retreat with everybody, but in the spring it's great to really build community among men and among women. And this is a statewide thing. So students from all over the state are coming to Lincoln to really get just good connection time with their brothers and their sisters in Christ. And so we'll have more info about all these things coming up throughout January and February on Facebook and email. So we would appreciate your prayer for that. Thanks so much for your partnership. We love you. We thank God for you. And we do pray His mighty blessings on you throughout this new year.